Well, there's a lot about AEW I do like. I think, you can tell Jericho has control of his own character because I think most of the stuff he's involved with is tremendous. I think Jericho and Orton, for me, are the two best performers in wrestling right now. But a basic problem with AEW, and Billy, your point about, getting color 3 times in the same show, nobody will tell the booker he's wrong. Nobody will go to Tony Khan, the guy who signs the check, and say, look, brother, dial it back. You're going too far.
Yeah, but I'm assuming they have agents. The head agent should say there shouldn't be blood in 3 matches. If there's only going to be blood, it's going to be in the main event or the most important match. Or if it's totally necessary, we have it in 2 and you do it differently and you have it separated. But you don't do it in 3. It minimizes the shock value. And that's why you're bleeding anyways, to try to elicit an emotional response.
You're right, but nobody wants to tell Tony Khan he's wrong. And I'm not saying
you're part of the problem.
Well, no, for sure. I mean, look what happened at that roast in Baltimore. I made fun of him for 30 seconds, and he got up and walked out. He doesn't like to be told he's wrong.
Right.
Did you hear that story, Billy?
What's that? Sorry.
They were roasting. Who was the roast for?
It was for Tony Schiavone. It was at the last Starcast in Baltimore.
Yeah, tell him the line that you fed, and then because Tony Khan was there, and he walked out after this.
Well, I don't want to, quote a chapter and verse because honestly, I don't remember a lot of it myself. But Tony Khan was in the audience for the Schiavone thing, and I noticed him when I went up to talk, and I called him a money mark right off the bat, and he got real pissed off, and I made a couple more remarks, and he got up and walked out. Yeah. And like in a roast, anything goes. So,
right.
So obviously nobody.
If you're in the audience or you're on the dais, you're fair game.
Yeah, you just get roasted. That's what a roast is. You get roasted.
I got like 3,000 times in the course of the roast, but. No, but he got up and walked out, and that's my point. And I got to be honest, I've met him in the past, and we actually had a pleasant exchange on Twitter the other day too. I think he's an okay guy, but nobody's ever talked to him that way before, or at least very few times. And I think that carries over backstage. I just don't think the boys and the agents will tell him when something's wrong. I just have that feeling because if that's how he is then, I got to imagine he's like that most of the time.
Yeah, because you see the problem with their show is that the screws aren't tightened down. Like we talk about all the time. If you've ever said, like Conan's done it, we've done it. When you're in the production meeting and they're going over the show, when Vince would write a show, he really was not he didn't mind people bringing stuff up that was screwy. Say, hey, we should do this because there was a lot of conversation in these production meetings. Hey, maybe we should do this and stuff. So go ahead, Mark.
Well, Glenn, what have I been telling you for years? Literally for years. Yeah. The most important job that a wrestling promotion could have, and no promotion has ever had it, is a quality control coach. A guy who just doesn't have creative input per se, but he keeps track of the storylines and the logic and stuff that can and can't happen. And when something is illogical, he says, look, that doesn't make sense. It goes against the grain of what happened, 3 weeks ago on this show, on that show. And then his word has to be the law. He doesn't dictate what happens, but he dictates what can't happen because he's in charge of quality control. When you have a guy like that, you talk about how the AEW show is not screwed together tight. That's why there's nobody to do that.
Yeah, I still think there's a bigger overriding problem, and I just feel that the main thing that I always say about this company is that when AEW started, it basically should have been called Independent Wrestling Episode 312. Because the fact is that the first 311 episodes, the casual fan who wanted to start watching it probably missed it. And they still come in, and these people come in with this Orange Cassidy and all these various characters come in that I'm supposed to know from the indies. No, I have a life. I don't know.
Oh, so you mean you weren't a big fan or didn't know anything about Warhorse? I'm really, yeah. Wait a minute, bro, here's the worst part. They built this guy up like he was some great thing that they were going to sign. Maybe he could win the title.
He's terrible. He gets out on national television, and he's absolutely horrible. And then Eddie Kingston, who's pretty good. He can talk, but they acted like Dez was back. I mean, they overblow these guys when they're in the reputation, and I agree, it's overbearing.